What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews. We've got 11 game slate on the NBA today. I've got 4 bets I've already put down that I'm going to share with you. Plus, we're going to go through a deep dive. We're going to go through key plays in each game. Plus, I'm going to take you through some plays with the best hit rate so far this season. I'm going to tell you whether you should take them or not. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go. So we're jumping into props madness. This is the best tool you're going to find for betting on NBA player props, especially as it gathers more data on the season. You guys honestly have to check this out. I do have it scheduled to film a couple tutorials on how to use Prop Madness over the weekend, so you're going to want to check it out. 7-day free trial in the video description below. Plus, you'll get 25% off if you use the code DAFT when you sign up. I'm the only person on YouTube who can give you that discount code. So funnel all your friends and family through here. Props Madness. Go ahead and check it out. All right, let's get into these 4 picks first. Then we'll do our deep dive, and I'll give you guys some further instruction because I'm going to need your help on this video. The first pick we're looking at is in the Detroit Pistons versus Toronto's Raptor game. Far out. I butchered that. Toronto Raptors. Who am I looking at here? I'm looking at Jalen Duren. And for Jalen Duren, normally go straight to his rebound prop. But as you can see this season, extremely inconsistent, is volatile. He'll need an excellent matchup. And it's not for rebounds today. So I actually like his points prop. Now, even though the numbers there are absolutely terrible, using Props Madness, I can show you guys why I'm betting it. So firstly, I got this at 10.5. Still available in 10.5 in most places, but this will be at 11.5 by the time the game tips off. But let's talk about the 10.5 real quick. He's hitting 4 of 11 games, averaging 8 games this season. So it's not great. Now for Jalen Duren, I love this matchup here against the Toronto Raptors. We could see it here on this shot chart zone. They're pretty soft inside. Bottom 10 when it comes to defending the restricted area, which is where Jalen Duren scores 95% of his points. The Toronto Raptors, bottom 5 in terms of points in the paint allowed. And you can see it here represented by this blue graph. Now what you can do on Props Madness, which you can't do anywhere else, is filter by these specific filters. Fuck, how exciting. But if I remove the teams that are pretty good at limiting points in the restricted area, check this stuff out. If we just look at the games, the bottom 15 teams in defending the restricted area, we can see here, Jalen Duren's now covered in 4 out of 7 games, right? But there are 2 games here. Charlotte, he only played 8 minutes, injured. Philly played 11 minutes, injured. So if we exclude the games where he got injured, and we apply a minutes filter here for Jalen Duren, what's he normally play? At least 20? Let's go games where Jalen Duren plays at least 20 minutes, where he's got a good matchup. Check it out. 4 out of 4 in all these games where the matchup was ideal. Provided he plays more than 20 minutes, he's going to cover this line. He's averaging 13 points per game when the matchup is right. So in my opinion, the only thing that's going to stop Jalen Duren today is injury. So we pray for good health because this guy can find an injury. I'll tell you that, especially when you bet on him. But today against the Raptors, he's got an ideal matchup. The pace should be quick, should be up and down, a lot of points, a lot of rebounds. The Raptors very soft in the middle. Jalen Duren should take advantage of that. So I do like him. He is my first bet of the day. The second one, we're looking at the Clippers versus the Rockets. These teams going back at it again, and I'm going back to Goonie, Alperen Sengun. And this time, I'm not fucking around with any points prop. We're just going straight rebounds. Over 9.5 boards for Sengun. Last time we bet on him, took the over in rebounds, and we added some points in. Over 9.5 rebounds. That's all I'm playing for Sengun. I considered a double-double. Double-double's a nice pivot, but I don't want to get burnt by his points again, so we're just playing the boards. Now, last time when we took Sengun, the whole thought process around this was about minutes. Provided he sees 30 minutes, he's going to get his 10 rebounds. And how do I know that? If we play the minutes filter, Sengun, if he plays more than 30, check it out. 7 out of 7 games where he plays more than 30 minutes, averaging 13.9 rebounds. Just played the Clippers, played exactly 30 minutes, and finished with 11 boards. Now, I must say, in this particular game, he wasn't even playing very well. He didn't even deserve to be on there for 30 minutes. Had he played better, would have got more time. But the 30-minute slot is the whole idea here for Alperen Sengun. I'm not going to overdo it. Basically, if he gets the minutes, he's going to get the boards. And with Zubac out there, they're going to need some big bodies. So I do like Alperen Sengun to get his rebound prop again against the Clippers and for me to cash out. So that's a nice one. Very easy, simple. Next one, we're heading over to the Timberwolves versus Sacramento Kings. Caught this one nice and early. Anthony Edwards setting out to VIP. Taking the over 3.5 3-pointers for Anthony Edwards. Minus 105 at the moment on Bet365. So the odds for this are fantastic. Now just take a look at this. Anthony Edwards hit this line in 10 out of 12 games this season. Absolutely living it up from downtown. Played the Kings earlier this season. He hit 5 out of 15 3-pointers. The Sacramento Kings, third most three-point attempts allowed. If we look at their defense, pretty poor at defending the three-point line. Above the break, in the corners, they are complete ass. And if you look at Anthony Edwards, 49% of his points are above the break three-pointers. So Anthony Edwards, just looking for him to do what he has been doing all season. Keep chucking up threes from deep, make 4 of these suckers, and get the fuck out of there. So Anthony Edwards to go over his three-point prop, absolutely love the play. Considered playing him for 5, but let's not fuck around here. Just take the over 3.5. If you keep getting odds like this at minus 105, you're in a good place. But I can see in some books it's really starting to move. Some others lagging a bit behind. So if you can get those nice and early, jump on board. Now, my last play that I want to share with you guys is in the Grizzlies versus the Warriors games. And how great would it be to bet on Steph Curry? He just destroyed the Dallas Mavericks. OKC, he's been killing them. Up against Memphis now. And I'm not betting on Steph Curry. No. I got something a bit more boring for you, a little bit more vanilla. But this guy is nothing close to vanilla, I tell you that. We're talking about Draymond Green. And I'm looking at the over 7.5 points for Draymond. He's hit the over in 5 out of 8 games this season. He's averaging 8.1 points per game. Now, I specifically wanted to look at the games where Steph Curry was playing. And those are these. Without Steph Curry, we're looking at 7 out of 11, averaging 8.7. But Draymond's recent form is the reason why I'm betting on this thing. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of his last 7 games, Draymond's gone over 7.5 points. And his matchup today against the Memphis Grizzlies is fantastic. So if you take a look here at the play type analysis, you'll see Draymond scores through spot-up shooting, getting to the free throw line, and in transition. The Memphis Grizzlies bottom 10 in defending all of those. We look at similar types of players. Whole lot of green. There's a lot of forwards out there with similar play types and profiles as Draymond. They've all gone over their points props against them. This matchup is just ideal for me. I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are going to do everything they can to limit the three-point shooting of the Golden State Warriors. And I think they're going to live and die with Draymond Green taking as many shots as he likes. He has been stroking the three ball quite nicely. He's been shooting three ball quite well all season, to be honest with you. So Draymond, hopefully still feeling confident, and he makes a few spot-up shots. So 7.5 is a nice number. If this moves to 8.5, I probably wouldn't bet it. It does make me feel a little bit uncomfortable, but at 7.5 at these odds, I think it's a really good look. Minus 110, pretty standard. Some places minus 105, ESPN bet. So Draymond Green, that is my 4th play that I've already locked down. There's a massive slate of games. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if I got to 10 bets on today. If you're interested in checking out all of my bets, though, sign up to my free Winnable, and I'll drip feed you some free picks every single day. Pumping the brakes real quick. I just remembered I didn't recap the last video. So I had 2 bits that I share with you. First one was Klay Thompson over his points prop. He got it done, left it till late, but that cashed. The second prop was Keontae George over in his rebounds and assists, 7.5. He finished on 6. He was averaging 2 per quarter and then did absolutely nothing in the 4th. Can't complain. I thought it was a good look. Just didn't get it done. It is what it is, 1 from 1. But a lot of the leans that I shared for yesterday, you'd be surprised how well they hit. I spoke about Najee Marshall not making a three-pointer. He scored like 19 points, didn't make a three-pointer, so that would have cashed. That was plus money. We had John Collins over his turnover prop. That cashed with ease. He had like 4 turnovers. Cody Williams, he was averaging 1 turnover a game, like in almost every single game. He got a turnover in his first 2 minutes. So that cashed really nicely. Daniel Gafford over his points prop, I believe that cashed. Just a whole lot of the shit that I was looking at was money. So that's why we're going to do the deep dive today, and I'm going to try to give you as much value as possible, which is why I need you to like the video, subscribe for more, because you know nobody else is putting this much value and content out there on the NBA. So be sure to subscribe, help your boy get to 12,000. We're not too far away. The last thing I want to announce is Dabble Fantasy. You guys have to check out Dabble Fantasy because the new announcement is they're now available in Massachusetts. So feel free to check out Dabble Fantasy. If you sign up with them, you don't even have to make a deposit, but they'll give you $25 for free to play around with. You get $25. I get a small kickback for referring you. It's a win-win. Check it out. Dabble Fantasy is fantastic. The link for that's in the video description below. Now let's get into this deep dive, shall we? Let's go. All right, so we're jumping into the deep dive here. And this is where I said I need your help, because we're going to go through a lot of games today. And I haven't pre-looked at the board, so I don't know what I'm going to find. What I'll ask you to do, if you can be so kind, if you can list in the comment section which out of these leans or something from this deep dive do you think is going to hit. I wanted to find a way to try to keep track of them, and I hope I don't have to rewatch the whole video back. So if you're watching this and you've got time to track every single lean that I discuss, heavily appreciated, my man, if you put it in the comment section. But let's get into it, shall we? The first game we're looking at is the Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. Now, as a casual bettor, what I like to do is scan the board, look at the matchup, and think about what do teams give up and what don't they. So one thing about the Indiana Pacers defense I know, they're going to give up points around the rim, and they're not going to give up too many assists because they don't let a lot of shooters get off. So one person I'd be considering taking an under on is Tyler Hero. His line's very high. 24.5 is his points prop. But what I'm talking about here is his assist prop. 6.5 for Tyler Hero is a very high number. He did just get 8 against the Detroit Pistons, playing 42 minutes. But keeping in mind here, 9 potential assists, finished with 8 assists. I think he was lucky to hit that. For the most part, doesn't have massive potential assist numbers. And he's up against the Pacers today, although they're not a great defense. 4th fewest assists in the league. And I know that Jimmy Butler is out, so that's something that we need to factor in. So he's only played 2 games without Jimmy this season, 3 and 8 assists, not a big sample size. But if we look at last season without Jimmy, he went to the over 6.5 assists in only 4 out of 20 games. He averaged 5 assists per game without Jimmy in the lineup. We just look specifically in the regular season, 2 out of 14 games. So leaning heavy to the under here for Tyler Hero. The odds for this are not fantastic. They are juiced to the gills, but you might want to take Tyler Hero under 6.5 assists, and you might take him over 15 points or something and try to minimize that juice or pair it with something else. But Tyler Hero, under 6.5 assists, I think is a great look. It's one that I thought about when I first looked at it, but the odds did scare me off a little bit. The other thing you could think about with teams like this matching up is probably Bam Adebayo scoring some points, because this Pacers team give it up in the paint. You can see it right here. And this Bam Adebayo fellow lives in the paint, scoring in the pick and roll, isolation, getting to the free throw line. My man gets it done. His matchup is a pretty good one here against Indiana. The problem with Bam Adebayo is a bit of a bitch. Like, if I'm being honest with you, just lacks aggression sometimes, and it's very hard to know when he's going to get after it and when he's not. So that's my hesitation with him. Outside of that, let's find something with a really good hit rate as a late. Here's one that might get your interest. We're looking at Pascal Siakam, and we're looking at an under in his rebounds and assists. Now, check that out. 6 consecutive games, he's gone under his rebounds and assists. Line's at 11.5. You're getting pretty good odds for the under here, minus 110, minus 105. So some excellent odds. So under in 7 straight games, up against Miami. Not a great rebounding team, so that's a little bit of a risk. When it comes to assists allowed, they rank 14th. If you consider the head-to-head matchups in the past, let's take a look. He went under this line in both games against Miami last season. 36 minutes, 32 minutes, still going under. So the rebounds and assists for Pascal Siakam, it's a real interesting look. His rebound line's at 7.5. He doesn't do that consistently. And the assist line at 3.5. It looks like, well, the thing is, there's no massive trend here. It's just as a late, he hasn't been doing it. And he's got Tyrese Halliburton. Benedict Matherin's probably stepped up as a late too, so he's probably taking some possessions. Andrew Nembhard can fill up the assist sheet as well. Yeah, I think Pascal Siakam under his rebounds and assists, honestly, is not a bad look. All right, the next one, we're looking at the Detroit Pistons versus the Toronto Raptors. Cade Cunningham comes to mind when I think about this, or even someone like Malik Beasley can get it going. Not ones that I want to bet on if I already bet on Jalen Duren, but those are some plays that stick out to me. And then looking at Toronto, depending if Emmanuel Quickly's playing, let me check RotoWild nice and quick. And we've got Quickly is out again. Okay, so we should see RJ Barrett see a lot of touches, but I'm not overly excited to bet on RJ Barrett, but maybe someone like Grady Dick potentially. He is a gunner. He can get hot. Let's take a look at Grady Dick, actually, just out of curiosity. And he scored 32 against the Bucks, 14 against the Lakers. Quickly was back in the game. He only took 10 shots. Against the Clippers, Quickly was back for that too. And then against the Kings, Quickly was missing, but he only played 24 minutes. He was 3 for 10. So no Quickly again. We should see a high usage rate for Grady Dick. Let's check out the games without Emmanuel quickly. There it is. So he's gone over 19.5 points in 6 out of 9 games with quickly out of the lineup. He's averaging 21.8. Up against the Pistons, who are they're a better team this season, not going to lie. Defensive rating, they're in the top half in terms of how they defend spot-up shooters and above the break. They're actually above average. So their defense is not too bad. Grady Dick, let's see how he goes against similar teams. So he scores a lot of his points from as a spot up shooter. He's got buckets on more difficult competition. We look at above the break 3. It is a tougher matchup, but Grady Dick's definitely got it done before. But a lot of that has to do with volume. So that's my only concern. He does Grady Dick take enough shots to get the buckets? The matchup's not too bad, but will he take enough? That's my only thought. But no Emmanuel quickly. I honestly wouldn't be too surprised to see it happen. Now we've got to look at Cade Cunningham. I think his rebounds and assists is what's been rocking. Check that out. 15.5 is the line. He's covered this in 6 straight games now. Up against the Raptors team. Don't give up too many rebounds, but they can be susceptible to some assist game. And yeah, look, based on his recent form, Cade Cunningham at 15.5, it is quite high. Not going to lie to you, but what have we got? 8.5 for his assist line, which is covered every time. 6.5 for his rebound line, which is also covered every single time. So rebounds and assists. Look, it does look great if you're just betting on hit rate. I don't know how I feel about betting on guards to get rebounds and assists, but look, I tried to take an under on Cade not too long ago and it blew up in my face. I'm not brave enough to do that again, but yeah, the hit rate for Cade Cunningham's good. I just don't know if I could get there. Not something that interests me too much. That streak's going to end eventually. Then you've got Malik Beasley as a shooter. Malik Beasley, line's at 16.5. Seems a little bit high because Jaden Ivey, I believe, is back in this. So he's a game time decision. So this is probably one of the plays. If Jaden Ivey's not good to go, then you have to bet on Beasley. Tim Hardaway's a game time decision. So is Fontecchio. So Beasley's going to get a lot of court time. But I think also Cade Cunningham probably brings him into the game a little bit more. So I think Cade Cunningham can actually have a big one now that I think about it. It could be a PRA thing. But I like the Jalen Duren bet. That one is very straightforward for me. But this smells like an overs game. Like a lot of players can really cover their line in this one. So, but let's talk about one that's got a massive. Let's get a really good hit rate. Let me take a look. Give me a sec. All right, looking at these players, mate, I couldn't find any consistency between the Raptors players and the Pistons players. So we're just going to leave it right there. But a couple good looks there. I don't mind some of what I see. Next up, we got the 76ers versus the Orlando Magic. And one thing I noticed as soon as I looked at this, right? You've got Philly pretty much at full strength. No Maxey, but Joel Embiid and PG playing. Franz Wagner has the highest points prop in this game. And I think this is ridiculous. His points line's at 26.5. He's hit this in 5 out of 13 games. Yes, Banchero is not there. So let's firstly take a look at the games without Paolo out. And we can see he's averaging 23.9 points without Paolo. Now, all of these games where he went over his points prop line, these are all easy matchups with no bigs. They're pretty soft in the middle. And if you take a look at, let's look at points in the paint allowed as an example. All easy matchups. Now, he's up against the 76ers today. And yes, defensively, they haven't been great this season. But now they got Joel Embiid back in there under the rim. Paul George, good defensive wing. Kelly Oubre, pretty decent defensive wing. Caleb Martin, a good defensive wing. Like, they got bodies upon bodies to throw at Franz Wagner. And this might be a casual take from me, but I only think I think the under's a good look here. Like, all the defensive stats for the 76ers this season, I'd throw them out the window right now because with Embiid there, he changes everything. And even though he's probably not at his best, I think it's going to be a difficult game for France. The points line, Orlando, 1.5 point favorites in this game, which is wild. But yeah, Franz Wagner to get more than 26.5 on Philly right here, I think is going to be tough. He scored 29 against the Pacers, and that matchup is built for him. Very similar with the Hornets. That's built for him. The 76ers, probably not so much. Out of curiosity, looking at the head-to-head matchups they would have had last season, scored 24 points in both of those games, and Banchero did play in them. So he did have some success, not going to lie. But at first glance, I think the 26.5 seems a little bit high. I would be leaning to the under. Now, we're not going to find much consistency in hit rate in this Philly team. Joel Embiid changes everything up. But let's have a quick look at Joel Embiid. 23.5. He only scored 13 in the opener against the Knicks. 2 from 11, played 26 minutes. Up against Orlando today, where it's a pretty difficult matchup for Embiid. 23.5. Can he get there? I don't think so. His rebound line at 8.5. I swear that I feel like that's just really high for Joel Embiid right now. And I know he only had 3 rebounds against the Knicks. A difficult rebounding matchup for him if he's going to play on the perimeter. But I think looking at the under here for Joel Embiid and his PRA, 37.5 could be a good look. And if he's only going to play 25 to 30 minutes, I don't know if he can get it done here. Even at his best, let's look at last season. And let's take a look at games where he played between 20 and 30 minutes, because I don't see him playing very big minutes at this point in the season. Jeez. Well, these were he washed these teams. That wasn't even competitive. They were all blowouts. Joel Embiid single-handedly killing those teams. And then we've got 3 other games: Warriors, OKC, Memphis. And I think it's tough to look at the data for last season because Joel Embiid is nothing like he was at this point. Got to shake off a bit of rust. And 37.5 as a PRA seems a little bit high to me. This Orlando team, they do have some big bodies with Bataze, Mo Wagner. They could throw at Joel Embiid. None of them necessarily good enough to stop him right now. But Joel Embiid right now, 37.5 as a PRA. I think I might take the under there. We'll see. We'll see where I land. But that's definitely one that I'm thinking about. Next up, we got the Lakers versus Spurs. Quick look at the lineups. Hachimura is a game time decision. So is AD. AD is most likely going to play, though. Spurs still running with the same team that they have been running with as of late. So who are the key players we want to look at here? You got to look at Victor Wembanyama, right? Just scored 50 against the Wizards, up against the Los Angeles Lakers now. Man, he's got a pretty good matchup, Victor, to score some points here after scoring the 50. I wonder what the defense of the Lakers do to try to slow him down. He's made 14 3-pointers in his last 2 games. The Los Angeles Lakers, not too bad at defending the 3-point line this season, but overall defensively, they haven't been great. 25.5 for Wemby. I don't know if I could get to the over there. It just seems like a lot. Rebounds, 11.5 is the line. He's only hit this 4 times this season. Could have his hands full working with Anthony Davis. I just don't know. Victor's capable of a lot, but you can see it in the numbers, consistently going under. But the matchup's nice. Could definitely see him going over. I just don't know if I'm not game enough to bet on that. I think the key ones we'll look at for LA has got to be AD and LeBron. So AD, 27.5 is his line. I think a lot of people are going to pick him to bounce back after a slow game against Memphis. He was 6 for 16 in that game, but he's still a game time decision, meaning whatever injuries he had, he still does. Can he bounce back? Sure. He's eaten the Spurs alive in the past, right? That's why a lot of people are going to be betting it. 37 and 28 last season. But you got to keep in mind, it's not just Wemby. Wemby and the Spurs are better defensively this year than they were last year. Last year, everybody was yakking on Wemby. But this year, not so much. Wemby's put on some size. I don't think it's going to be as easy to score against him. So Anthony Davis and his over, I'd be a little bit hesitant on that. Betting the under in his rebounds could be a good look. The line's at 12.5. He's only hit this 4 times this season. He's averaging 10.8 rebounds. He's going to be up against Wemby. And if Wemby's going to be pulling up for 10, 15 3-pointers, you bet he's pulling Anthony Davis out of the paint, so he may not be in position to get those boards. I think that could be a good look. I honestly think that's a lean. But I don't know if I can get there when it comes to betting it. Quick look at LeBron James. Triple-double in 3 straight games. His points line's at 24.5. His matchup against the Spurs, not a bad one, not a great one. But he's only hit this in 5 out of 11 games, averaging 24 points per game. If AD can't cook, then LeBron James is going to have to. Pretty much the recipe this season. So, yeah, I'm a bit on the fence on whether I can take LeBron James overs. But because he's been smashing out these triple-doubles, you have to look at his rebounds plus assists. His line's at 18.5. He's been getting 25, 26, 26 in his last 3 games, right? Some big performances there for LeBron. I think 18.5, it's a pretty good number. The Spurs, though, second fewest assists allowed in the league, 6th fewest rebounds allowed. So it might be a little bit tougher for old man James to get it. But there's one thing I know about this guy, LeBron James. If there's a record available, if there is a stat that needs to be chased, this man's going to chase it. So I honestly don't think this is such a bad look. Over 18.5 rebounds and assists for LeBron James. I'm a LeBron James hater, so I won't be betting on it. But just letting you know. Now, if you want to play from this game, which has an amazing hit rate, which comes at good odds, here we're looking at my man Julian Champagny. It's not his points, even though he's somewhat consistent there. It's his assists. His assist line is at 1.5. He's hit this in 8 out of 12 games, finishing on 2 assists, right? Pretty decent odds here, minus 120 to the over. Champagny doesn't get a lot of potential assists, but you only need to connect on 2 of them. And he's up against the Lakers today, who will have the 3rd most assists in the league. So I think Julian Champagny could definitely get it done. If you look at similar types of players, players who play his position, and the assists that they've gotten, PG, he was averaging, his line was at 3.5. He got 8 assists. Caleb Martin's line is 2.5. He got 5. Kevin Durant, 3.5 in 2 games against the Lakers, recorded 4 and 6. So great tool here by Props Madness, making it nice and juicy for us. Champagny, I don't think I don't mind this right here. Julian Champagny get 2 assists. It's a strange play, I got to tell you. But the minutes have been there. He's been cooking, even with Devin Vassell back. And because Sohan's not in the lineup, Champagny's going to keep seeing more time. So if he's going to play 25 plus minutes, we might have a chance here. Just out of curiosity, looking at last season's numbers in games where he plays at least 25 minutes, he's over this in 11 out of 16 games. And I get probably playing for a different team, whatever it may be, but I think there's a pretty good hit rate here, and his matchup is nice against the Lakers, who do allow a ton of assists. So Julian Champagny, that's another one. Shit, I don't write this stuff down. Next up, we've got the Battle of New York. It's the Brooklyn Nets versus the New York Knicks. And let's talk about it. Lineups, real quick. What do we got? Brunson's a game time decision, but looks like he'll play. Karl Anthony Towns is a game time decision. He's questionable. Same as McBride. Same as Campaign. And for the Nets, Dorian Finney-Smith, Nick Claxton, game time decisions as well. So, look, I'd probably not bet on any of these players until this stuff is confirmed. Obviously, if there's no Karl Anthony Towns, Brunson's going to eat. I think Karl Anthony Towns plays. He's got a great matchup here to score and get some rebounds as well. But let's take a quick look at it. Jalen Brunson's point line's at 26.5. Hasn't been hitting it very well all season, averaging 24 on the year. Going over this only 3 out of the 11. The matchup with Brooklyn, somewhat difficult. Brooklyn very good at defending the pick and roll, and that's where Brunson scores a lot of his points. So matchup is tough, but if Karl Anthony Towns is not there, you bet he's going to be putting up a lot of shots. His assist props at 6.5. Brooklyn does allow a lot of assists given how they defend the pick and roll, so you might want to look at that. Karl Anthony Towns, point signs at 25.5. His matchup to score points is excellent. It's right in his wheelhouse. Brooklyn, not good right under the rim. Karl Anthony Towns, big body who can get down there and make it happen. If he does play, I think his rebounds are a good look, or even a 20-point double-double. This could be a good look for Karl Anthony Towns. Lines at 11.5. Brooklyn, well, they're just too small down there. They can't hang with him, so that's what I'd be thinking. And for the Brooklyn Nets, there's no real standout, but Cam Thomas does have the highest average. Take a look. He's had a slow couple of games. Lines at 22.5. He's got a pretty good matchup here. This New York Knicks team, allowing a lot of points in the pick and roll at the moment, and that's how Cam Thomas scores a lot of his points. So I probably lean to the over there for Cam Thomas given the matchup, but Brooklyn getting points from a lot of places. Dennis Schroeder, Cam Johnson, all scoring a little bit, and with the right matchup, your Nick Claxtons have the potential to go off as well. So yeah, there's nothing I'm necessarily loving at this point. But if you want something with a great hit rate, you got to look at Josh Hart and his assists. Take a look at this. 6 consecutive games now, Josh Hart's gone over 5.5 assists, which is just wild. Checking his potentials, 10, 8, 13, 10, 16, 9. So we're looking at 9 assists as somewhat of a floor. 9 potential assists as a floor. If we look at last season's data, for example, in the regular season, we look at his potential assists and we look at the games where he has at least 9 potential assists. 16 of his last 20 he's gone over. But let's just look at games between 9 and 12, going over in 10 out of 13 games, which is pretty wild. So there's a good hit rate here for Josh Hart, provided the potential assists keep coming. That's one I honestly don't mind. And he's up against the Brooklyn Nets today. And yeah, bottom 8 in terms of assists allowed. So Josh Hart, I think it could be a good look. I've got that down as a lean because what I would need to dive into is to see who does Josh Hart get these assists to, right? Because if, for example, he gets 2 assists per game to Karl Anthony Towns, but Karl Anthony Towns is not there, it's probably going to impact him. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to look at it right now. So I'm on NBA.com. This is Josh Hart's player profile, his passing dashboard. This lets us know who he's passing to most of the time. So in terms of frequency, he passes the ball to Jalen Brunson the most. But in terms of assists per game, check it out. 1.9 assists per game from Josh Hart go to Karl Anthony Towns, right? He's only getting 0.8 assists per game passing to Jalen Brunson. So if Karl Anthony Towns is out of this game, I'd probably be a little bit hesitant to bet on Josh Hart. So we'll leave that as a lean, not something I'm ready to jump on right now. But I could leave myself a note depending on Cat. All right, cool. Hopefully you guys found that valuable. Let's see what else there is. We've got the Washington Wizards versus the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this is going to be a stats galore. Somebody's going to go off in this one, I'm sure. Didn't mean to rhyme that, but I did. No major changes to their lineups. What you have been seeing is what you're going to get. So let's talk about some of these key players. We've got Trae Young. We'll start with him. Trae Young's points line's at 25.5. He's only hit in 4 games this season. Played Washington twice, scoring 14 and 35. So been very inconsistent from that regard. The matchup's not the greatest, given that Washington aren't good at defense, but they somehow limit points to pick and roll ball handlers. They're pretty bad at everything else. So it could be a Jalen Johnson, maybe a Dyson Daniels scoring game. But let's take a look at Trae Young's assists. That line's at 11.5. He's had 13 and 15 assists the last 2 games against Washington. The game's up and down. The potential assist volume is sky high. I like it. I think the over in Trae Young assists makes so much sense. Washington haven't improved their defense since they last played. Pretty much the same shit. They're going to be running up and down. There's a whole lot of pace. Trae Young gets a lot of usage. So it makes a lot of sense to take his over. 11.5, though, it is pretty high, but you're getting close to plus money for it. So I'm going to take down to that. Trae Young assists. Let's take a look at Jalen Johnson. He should be able to rack up some stats himself. Points lines at 19.4, scored 29 and 21 against Washington earlier this season. And it makes perfect sense. Jalen Johnson does score as a spot-up shooter, gets to the paint, scores in transition, gets to the free throw line. Pretty good matchup for him. So the points prop, that's not a bad one. Looking at his assists, 7 and 4 assists in the 2 games against them. Has been racking up the assists a lot lately, but I wouldn't want to play his assist straight up as a lone play. The next one is his rebounds. 9.5 is the line. Check this out. 12 and 17 rebounds in the 2 games against Washington. This whole thing's going up and down the court. There's a lot of opportunities. Look, and based on what I'm seeing, real casual, but I'm looking at points and rebounds here for Jalen Johnson. Looks like a great play. 41 and 38 points and rebounds in the 2 games against Washington. The players that they were missing, DeAndre Hunter and Okongwu. Then in the following game, DeAndre Hunter, Dyson Daniels, Bogdanovic. So DeAndre Hunter still out, I believe. Or if he's not out, he's on the bench. Regardless, I think Jalen Johnson's going to cook. He's going to eat today. Jalen Johnson points and rebounds. Let's go. I think he eats him alive once again. Interesting one. I just want to look at Dyson Daniels because his points prop, he's been scoring like crazy. 18, 16, 28 in his last 3 games. His shot volume is really high. Not afraid to take some shots. Against Washington, he played him only once this season. He only took 9 shots in that game despite playing 36 minutes. So that would probably deter me a little bit. But if the volume stays as it has, 15 plus shot attempts for Dyson Daniels, 12.5 points seems like a really easy one. Let me take a look. If he takes a minimum of 15 shots, he's over in 3 out of 4, averaging 17 points per game. He did shoot through from 3 from 16 against the Knicks in 1 game. And if we look at last season's starter, where he takes at least 15 shots, well, we can't find that because the most shots he took in a game last season was 14. So small sample size of high volume Dyson Daniels. And I think this could be a good look. If the volume's still there, Dyson Daniels to score some points, I think it honestly is a good look. It's a heavy lean to the over there. Now, looking at Washington, we've got to look at Jordan Poole. Just scored 42 against the Spurs, 2 games against the Hawks, scoring 26 and 24 points. His line's at 21.5. He's got a great matchup. Pick and roll ball handlers and shooting above the break threes. This Atlanta Hawks team is the worst in the league by far. So can't help but lean to the over there for Jordan Poole. It makes so much sense. Looking at his assist line, it's at 5.5. He had 5 and 9 assists against the Hawks in the 2 games earlier this season. Hawks giving up a whole lot of assists as well. I think the points prop is the better look, but then you look at his rebound line, 3.5, not too much happening there. So what you could do, you could either bet on Jordan Poole to go over his points prop, 21.5, I think it's a good look, Or if you think the Atlanta Hawks make a pivot, try to do something to stop him from scoring, then you look at points and assists potentially. But for me, let's keep it straight up. You go Jordan Poole points. After that 42-point outing against the Spurs, he took 22 shots, made 6 3-pointers. Why would you stop? I wonder if there's a pivot here for the threes. His line's at 3.5. It's a plus money play here. This could be a good one, actually. 6 and 4 3-pointers in the 2 games against the Hawks last time. 8 to 9 attempts. Just made 6 against the Spurs. Look, it's a plus money play. 3.5 points. Can he get the points without making the threes? Potentially. But the 3-point prop hasn't been kind to me too much this season, so I think the points prop's probably the way to go. Kyle Kuzma, he's not exciting to bet on anymore. Ain't nobody fucking around with that. But we've got Bilal Coulibaly. Now, he's very similar in a sense where he's got a great matchup. 17 and 27 points in the 2 games against Atlanta. 17 points. I think Kyle Kuzma played in that game. And then the following game where he scored 27, Kyle Kuzma was out. Now, what tends to happen with Coulibaly, with Kuzma in the lineup, he becomes more of a spot-up shooter. So he also runs out in transition. So the opportunity is there. 3-point prop does interest me, but he hasn't made a 3 in quite some time. I'd probably lean to the over for Bilal Coulibaly in this up-and-down type game. But Kyle Kuzma is back, and he can. They're playing a very similar position, so Kyle Kuzma probably takes a bit of his stats there. So there's my hesitation. But I think this game is prime. It's got a lot of good looks. Trae Young assists, Jalen Johnson points and rebounds. Dyson Daniels can get some points. Jordan Poole gets some points as well. I think I might build a same game parlay for this one. An old bitch ass parlay, a beautiful one. Wizards versus the Hawks. You can't miss those opportunities. Another great opportunity is this one. It's the Chicago Bulls versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. If the Bulls are playing, you know I'm betting on it. Love these teams that just run up and down. Let's go. And given they just played recently, it gives us a good sample size of a good example of what could potentially happen. We've got Donovan Mitchell. He killed the Bulls in that last game. 36 points against them. His point line's 25.5. 4 out of 13 games this season, though. Against the Bulls, he did a lot of damage early. He was really feeling it. 7 from 16. 16 3-pointers. Once upon a time, that's how many shots a team would take from downtown. Not anymore. He took 26 shots in total. The matchup, it's not a bad one here. Would I bet the over for it? Probably not. He just scored 36 against them. The Bulls, if they're smart, they'll probably make a pivot, do something differently. But someone who's an absolute wagon this season is Evan Mobley. And the common play has been points plus assists. He only had 17 last time against them. The line's at 19.5. It wasn't even a blowout. He still played 31 minutes. So it might not be the type of game for Evan Mobley. But what about Darius Garland? Similar play style as Donovan Mitchell. Pick and roll, above the break threes. He only had 17 in that last game. Line's at 19.5 for Darius Garland. I don't think I could fuck with that. I'm going to have to pass. But the Bulls. Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Vucevic, and Giddey. Pretty much, Zach LaVine scores points. His line's at 20.5. He's covered this in 7 out of 9 games. Scored 26 points last time against Cleveland, 12 from 20, only 2 from 7 from downtown. So didn't shoot too efficiently from deep. So Zach LaVine overs and points could be an interesting look. The matchup is somewhat difficult, but given the pace at which the Bulls play, there's going to be a lot of points in when the game's so open. Then we have Kobe White. Kobe White scored 20 points against the Cavs last time. His line's at 19.5. He was 5 from 11 from deep. Didn't score any points on the inside of the paint. Everything he shot was from outside. And does he shoot 5 from 11 from deep again? I don't think so. So Kobe White points, probably not something I want to muck around with. Then we have Nikola Vucevic, probably the most consistent player in the NBA right now. Check this out. Points on at 17.5. Scored 20 against Cleveland the last time they played. 9 from 15. Super efficient. Love what he's doing. His rebound line, he's been pretty consistent there. Only had 8 rebounds against Cleveland last time, but for the most part on the season, it's looking pretty good. So if you wanted to bet his PRA, he's hit that in 11 out of 12 games. Rebounds and assists, not that good. Points plus rebounds, 11 out of 12 games. And it all comes down to his points, right? The points, he's hitting an 11 out of 12. That's probably the safest bet to take, taking his over 17.5. But the way that I'll play it, most likely, and this is the way I like to play things, probably take Nikola Vucevic for 15 points, steady as a rock. And then we take Josh Giddey and we take his assist prop. Take him for 5 assists, you get close to plus money. So I'm going to be running that same combo for most games this season. We've got Vooch, X, Giddy Parlay. Yeah, you get close to plus money for that. Josh Giddy to get five assists. He's got that in 9 straight games, 5+ assists, and Vucevic 15 points. Come on, that's all he does. So that's the Bulls versus the Cavs. I'm pretty excited about that. That's a pretty good game. Then we've got the Suns versus the Warriors. Now, quick look at their lineups to see if anything may have changed. Nurkic is a game time decision. Chet's obviously still out, so Jalen Williams playing the 5, which is just out of this world. Grayson Allen's a game time decision, but Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant are out, right? So all lines are going to be on Devin Booker here. Now, Devin Booker's got a tough ass matchup, but his line's at 28.5, some places at 29.5. He's only hit that in 3 or 12 games. And I got to tell you, I'm probably thinking it's going to be an under here. Because last game against Sacramento, scored 18 points, no Kevin Durant, no Bradley Beal. The problem with players like Booker, not too dangerous off the dribble. If he gets double team, he can't beat it. And he's up against OKC, toughest matchup out there on the perimeter. I don't think they're going to let him shoot enough times in order to score these many points. So they got a lot of bodies, a lot of different players that can throw at him. I think if you're betting on an over for Devin Booker, you might want to look at the assist, but I think the under for Devin Booker is the wave here. This matchup is tough as hell. So let me get that one down. Oh my God. I'm just looking at my list now. I'm going to have more than 10 bets tomorrow for sure. Devin Booker under in his points prop, though. I really love that. I don't see how he scores that many points. I just can see how any guard scores that many points against OKC, especially now. He's got nobody to toss that thing to. I'd probably say something like a Tyus Jones could go off. Tyus Jones could probably get some assists, but his line's a little bit high. But Devin Booker unders, yeah, give me that. Let's look at SGA. His points line's at 31.5. That seems high as fuck. The spread in this game, OKC -8, could be a blowout, but the matchup's nice. Phoenix don't defend the pick and roll very well at all, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander could absolutely kill him there. Jalen Williams, I did bet on him the last time they played. Since Chet's been out, he's been an absolute beast, 28 and 31 points. His matchup is not as easy when you think about his play type, but given the extra volume, extra opportunities here for Jalen Williams, I don't absolutely hate this. So probably lean to the over. Don't love it as much. Would have liked it if the matchup was a bit better, but based on his numbers without Chet this season, he cannot be ignored, Jalen Williams. But hey, I think for this game, Devin Booker under his points props, probably the one that I like the most. All right, let's look at the Denver Nuggets versus New Orleans Pelicans. And the spread here is Denver -6. Looking at the matchups, Nikola Jokic is a game time decision, so that's interesting. Probably needs a break. My man's been doing everything. I don't know if you guys saw this visual, but I saw it on Facebook. I don't even know if it's accurate, but it's where they took like the career high points per game for Shaq, rebounds per game for Duncan, and assists per game for Chris Paul. Nikola Jokic is on par with all three of those guys, and he's doing it all in the same season, which is just wild. But New Orleans, I think they have more players out than they have in. Alvarado, Hawkins, Jones, McCollum, DeJounte Murray, Zion Williamson are all out. So tough matchup here against Denver. Brandon Ingram potentially score some points today. Boston has been pretty good. Trey Murphy's back in the lineup, but yeah, not overly excited. Maybe this Missy guy could do something, but shit, let's take a look. Brandon Ingram, points line, 24.5, gone under in 4 straight games. And this is very similar to why Devin Booker probably goes under his points prop. Like, if you're the only guy out there who can create their own shot, teams are going to fucking swarm you. You know what I mean? They're going to make life hell. They're going to make it difficult. So can Brandon Ingram take enough shots to score 25 points against this Denver team? That I am not sure about. In terms of matchups, it's not a bad one. Denver not good at defending spot ups. They allow points from above the break, but surely they have a strategy here to limit Brandon Ingram if he's the only real gunner on this team. His assists, he's been passing the ball a lot better as of late, but this line at 6.5, that's enough to scare me. I don't want to touch that. Who else is there? Brandon Boston. He's been catching my attention. Scoring wise, hasn't been great last 2 games. Been somewhat difficult for him. But up against Denver, pretty decent matchup. We'll see what he can do. His assist line's at 3.5. Denver give up a ton of assists, which is also good to call out. Potential assist numbers 11, 15, 6. So, yeah, on looking at the data, it looks like a good pick, but as a massive slate of games, surely there are better out there. Nikola Jokic, only player on Denver that's available to look through at the moment. His numbers are crazy. That's all I'm going to say. His numbers are nuts. He's averaging 29.7 points, 11.7 assists, 13.7 rebounds. Now, if he does play, he probably gets a 50-point triple double or something. But at the same time, the Nuggets should get a nice win here. Jokic, if he does play, probably doesn't see too many minutes if they're killing him. I think that's a stay away for now. Next, we've got the rematch between the Clippers and the Rockets. So Steven Adams, a game time decision. Outside of that, matchup's pretty much the same. The spread, Houston minus 4.5 points against the Clippers. And let's fucking talk about it. This was the game that lost me my beard, son. And we got to talk about James Harden and his points prop. 21.5. The line is still the same as it was when last time we took it. 19 points against Houston in the last game. Played 31 minutes. Played a lot of minutes in the first three quarters. Didn't come out in the fourth. I don't know. I'm not on Twitter that often, so I don't know what Ty Lue said about it in the post game, but I'm going to do my research here. I'll do it after the video because I've got to jump on different websites. But again, my lean is James Harden over in points. And that's purely because we know Houston are going to let him play one-on-one. He likes to score in isolation, and the Rockets don't mind letting players score in isolation. James Harden can get his buckets. Had he played the fourth quarter, I have no doubt in my mind he would have gone over this points prop. Hopefully we see something different in this one. So James Harden over his points prop's a good look. Assist line at 8.5. I probably lean to the under there, but the points, give me that over for James Harden. I love that. We already spoke about Alfred Şengün and my look on that. I think something that's being overlooked right now is this. Amon Thompson. Fred Van Vliet is back in the lineup. So we want to look at the games Amon with Fred Van Vliet. And here we go. So he's been scoring pretty well, but that's not the prop I wanted to look at. It was this rebounds prop. Line at 5.5. He had 11 rebounds, 13 rebound chances against the Clippers last time. Outside of that, prior to that, he's hit in 5 out of these last 6 games over this rebound line. So 5.5 against the same Clippers team. He did play 34 minutes in that one, but I do like it because Van Vliet was there. So Amon Thompson, if he's going to get the minutes, this rebounds probably ain't looking too bad, if I must say so myself. I just had a look. The problem is his rebounds prop is juiced to the max. Look at that, minus 180. This will be 6.5, maybe even 7.5. Could be a popular play, but I don't think I'm going to bet it, to be honest. I'll stay away from that. I wonder what's got a good hit rate. And it's actually this. It's Amon Thompson. Rebounds and assists over 8.5. And we're looking at his games at home. Check out this man's work at home this season. 5 straight games. He's gone over 8.5 rebounds and assists when he's at home. So that's real interesting. Let me take a look at these assist numbers. Line's at 2.5. It's bouncing up and down. It's not real consistent. But if you just looked at his home games, his assist numbers are nice. They're pretty good. And Van Vliet was participating in all these games. So Amon Thompson rebounding at home. Yeah, that's gangster as hell. So rebounds and assists for Amon Thompson, 8.5. That could be something we could take a good look on. Had 13 against the Clippers last time. We're getting much better odds here, minus 115. Fuck it. Let's not overthink shit. I'm taking Amon Thompson right now. All right, next up, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Sacramento Kings. And what do we have over in this one? DeMar DeRozan, the game time decision. Most likely he misses this game. So that makes things a little bit interesting for us. And it explains why De'Aaron Fox's line's so high. 26.5 is the line. He's averaging 24.6 this season. Minnesota, not as good defensively as they have been in the past. But I'm not game enough to bet on De'Aaron Fox overs on anything right now. Domantas Sabonis, probably that guy. 20.5 points is the line. Scored 24 against Minnesota at the start of the season. 8 for 13. Made some 3-pointers as well. His matchup's not too difficult. Minnesota, pretty good at defending the pick and roll, actually. But Domantas Sabonis can definitely get some buckets. Where's his assists at? 7.5. It seems quite high, but there's no DeMar DeRozan here. So without DeMar, we know Domantas Sabonis can definitely dime up. Now, he only had 1 assist against Minnesota earlier this season, but the DeMar effect. Looking at his rebounds, 12.5 boards. He only had 8 rebounds against Minnesota last time. So the rebound line seems a little bit high if you ask me, but I'm not really game on that. Anthony Edwards, we already spoke about his 3-pointers made prop. His points prop's probably going to be a real popular bet of the day. It makes a lot of sense at 25.5. He's got a good matchup here against Sacramento, scoring 32 against them last time. If we're looking at hit rates, though, what can I come up with? I think there's something on Jaden McDaniels. And there is, it's Jaden McDaniels, steals and blocks. Check this out. 1.5 is the line. You're getting odds at about minus 115. He's hit this in 8 out of 12 games this season, Jaden McDaniels. And especially as a late, your boy's been deflected everything. So the pace of this game's it's moderate. Totals at 222, so it should be pretty up and down. If the Kings don't have DeMar DeRozan, probably increases the opportunities here. They probably play a little bit faster, if I'm being honest with you. So I think Jaden McDaniels to get 2 steals or blocks, I think that's a pretty good look. It's just not something I'd normally bet on. I wouldn't know how to watch it, but Jaden McDaniels, I don't mind that. Jaden McDaniels stocks, not bad at all. All right, let's head into the last game. It's the Grizzlies versus the Warriors. And the Grizz obviously missing a lot of players. Brandon Clark's a game time decision, but so is Desmond Bain, so is Vince Williams. So I probably wouldn't want to bet on anyone from Memphis until those lineups are confirmed. For Golden State, D'Anthony Melton's back out of this one. Podziemski gets a start. So who else is there to look at? We've got Steph Curry, of course. 2 great games. I'd lean to his over for sure against Memphis. Should be a high-scoring game. But let's take a look at his assists. 6.5. He's covered that in his last 2, that's for sure. Memphis not allowing a whole lot of assists at this point. Rebound-wise, yeah, it's very similar. His points, rebounds, and assists graphs all look the same. Like he covered his points lines and his rebounds lines and his assist lines all in the same games. And you can see it in his PRA. He pretty much had 3 great all-round games. Steph Curry. So it's a no-sweat bet. He's either going to kill this or he's not going to get close. Draymond Green, you already know I'm taking the over on his points prop. But looking at Memphis, yeah, there's nothing that I would even want to show you right now for Memphis because you don't know who's playing. And if you don't know who's playing, you don't know how these lines are going to be impacted. So to save you, protect your money, I'm not going to show you any of those things. But if we're looking at consistency here, I think Zach Edey on the road's been an absolute beast. Check this out. Points and rebounds for Zach Edey. And if we look at his road games, look at that. My man's a road warrior. 5 straight games on the road. He's covered this points plus rebounds line. Up against the Warriors, though, pretty difficult matchup if you ask me. The Warriors, pretty good defensively this season and very good in that restricted area where Zach Edey's scoring 74% of his points. The Warriors, even though they might play small, they've shown that they're not afraid to double team whenever some big get down there. So even though the hit rate on Zach Edey's pretty good, not one that I'd want to bet on. So my recording has hit about an hour before I start editing things. So I'm going to wrap shit up right there. But before I do, let me recap a lot of the leans that we have right here because I'll probably end up betting a lot of them. I already shared with you on the top the 4 bets that I've already got down. The other ones I'm thinking here, Joel Embiid, under his points, rebounds, and assists. I feel like it's too high. He's still rusty as fuck. And I don't know if he can have a full all-round game in order to cover that. Julian Champagnie assists. The hit rates on it is fantastic. I think we just need 2 assists. But given the amount of bets that I do have, I'm going to take that one off the board. I don't love it as much, but chances are it's going to hit. Josh Hart assists. That really depends if Karl-Anthony Towns plays. I'm just going to get rid of that because I'm not going to wait for the announcement on him because I got a lot of other looks. Trae Young assist seems really straightforward. It makes so much sense. Jalen Johnson points and rebounds, an easy one. Jordan Poole to go over his points line seems like a straightforward one as well. They've got no resistance. We've got Vooch in Giddy Parlay. I'm going to play that every single time those guys are on the court. Devin Booker under his points prop. I think that's a brave move given who's missing, but that matchup is tough as hell. James Harden over his points. That's possibly me being stubborn, but we're going to do it anyway. Eamon Thompson over his rebounds and assists. I think the hit rate is terrific there at home. Jaden McDaniels stocks, steals and blocks. Can I get there and lay that bet down? I want to. The hit rate's on it's nice, but there's nothing about the game script which tells me why I should take it apart from the hit rate being good. So I'm going to get rid of that one. Even though the hit rate's fantastic, you can bet that if you want to. But I will have at least 10 plays on this day. I'll probably have 15 or 20 once you add all the parlays and stuff that I'm going to put down. But if you're interested in checking out the bets that I do land on, sign up to my free winnable. And if you want to, you can sign up to my VIP where you get access to every single bet that I make on every single sport. Feel free to check that out as well. But I'll leave that up to you. Now, if you made it this far, I appreciate you. After all this hard work, it's time for me to pop an edible and get some rest. So if you made it this far into the video, put it in the comment section down below. Type in the words "eat me" and I'll know that you made it this far. Either way, thank you for watching. Best of luck on this big slate of games. I know I need it. I hope you guys loved it. Let me know what you thought. So I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.